For part 4 of the project, I asked you to look at quartiles and percentiles for the data set. And we want to go back to that age list that we were looking at before. So this age data tab down here, we click on age data, and below where you've put your interpretation in there on part 2, we want to create a table with quartiles, and we'll want to do one for percentiles as well. Now, Excel's a little weird in the way it takes the percentiles, but for the quartiles it's nice. We just tell it we want first, second, and third quartiles. And I didn't give myself much space here, so I'm going to move this percentile over. And we can just click on the cell and move it to the right, and conveniently it just moves that for us. Now, what's our data value at each quartile and at each percentile? That's what we're interested in finding here. And Excel will actually do that from this list of data. So for the quartiles, we have first, second, and third. For the percentiles, we'll want to find the 10th, the 20th, the 30th, all the way up through the 90th percentile. And rather than typing in 10th, 20th, what we're going to do is we're going to use 0.1. That's the way Excel has to look at this. We have 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. And you can either type all of those, or since Excel recognizes these patterns, just select those three, click on the bottom right hand corner, and drag this down to where you get 0.9. Now for quartiles, we want to use the function wizard again, and we'll find the quartile. So we hit insert function, and I don't see it listed there, so I'm going to type quartile and do a search for quartile. And I'll double click on that name quartile. Now the array, again, the array is our data that we're plugging in. So I'm going to click again on these ages, start at the top one, and go all the way down to the bottom of the list. So I get A2 through A74. Now that's what we want for each of these quartiles. Now I'm going to want to copy this formula here in a minute, and if I copy it the way it is right now, it's going to mess up these array values. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually hit F4 to make these what we call absolute references. So it won't change them no matter where we copy this to. So when I hit F4, you see it adds the dollar signs in there. Those dollar signs tell it that if you copy it, don't change the values. Keep them where they are. Now for the quartile, we want it to be, in this case, the first quartile. So it puts it as D37, you see here. Now, what happens is when I copy this down, I want it to actually change for each quartile. So I'm going to leave this one as what we call a relative reference. And I'll hit OK now. When I click OK, then we have this data value of 20 as our first quartile. Now, if I click on this and drag it down and copy it, then we get these other values. Now let's just check and make sure that these are right. Now I'm going to click on the third one here. I'm going to hit this FX button. Now what did we want? Well, we wanted the data to stay the same. Well, it looks like that's fine. We have A2 through A74, so that's all of our data in the first column. Now the quartile, we want it to be, in this case, the third quartile, and we see that it changed to D39, so that's what we want there. So we'll hit OK. We have those different quartiles. We can do the same thing for percentile. We'll hit FX, and we still don't have percentile there, so we'll type in percentile and find the function, and it's that percentile function there. I double click on it. Again, tell it where my data is, so what's the array? I select that A2 through A74 like I did before. I hit F4 to make it an absolute reference. And then K, that's going to be that 0.1. We want the 10th percentile. And I hit OK. Double clicking on this bottom right hand corner again knocks the whole list down. So we have all of our different percentiles there from all the 10th percentiles. And one thing you can do here is, we see that this is what, 0.1, 0.2. Well, we're thinking of these as percentiles, so let's just select all of those and click on this percent button up here, and it changes it to that percentile or percent form, which goes more along with what we're looking at for the percentiles. Now, just again, down below this here, take a minute and interpret your results. And what I'm looking for here is just, describe to me a little bit about the distribution of the data. And if you want to tie it into what we looked at with the histograms there, maybe sort of what the picture would look like of it,